What up, y'all? Again, it's your boy Benji Burke with co-host Kevin Pace. We back with another episode of Benjamin's in Business. You know what to do. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification. Today we got a special guest. We got my boy Jeff Gilliam in the building. So we're gonna talk to him and learn about some of the tricks and trades that what he's doing in his life right now. What's up, bro?
Hey, what's going on, my man?
You good?
Give me something, man.
Good, man. So we just wanted to get you on the show and talk to you a little bit about what you're doing. First of all, Jeff, where you from? Because I know you're not from Columbus.
I'm Ohio, man. Steubenville, Ohio, man.
Okay, Big Red.
Yeah, brother. The Big Red. That puts fear in the hearts of
Come on,
people
man.
down here. You know, we come down here, roll on you boys. Yeah. But yeah, I'm from Steubenville, man. Went to school there. Went to undergrad at Youngstown State. Went to grad school at Clark, Atlanta. You know, just moved around until I came here.
Okay. So what made you pick Columbus?
It's funny, man. I was living in Houston, and I started a company up here, man. I had a security guard company, me and my cousin.
Okay.
And I was like, let me get closer to home. Because I've been to Cause I've been in Columbus, I've been in New York, I've been in Atlanta. I said, let me get closer to home and stuff. So I came back, you know, and once you get to, I'm gonna stay for a couple years. That's been like 25 years, man. You know, that's how the game works. But, you know, Columbus is a great town because, you know, once you've been in those bigger cities and you got that in you, you're okay, you're satisfied.
Yeah.
You know, now I know that I live from the airport 10 minutes, I'm here, I know the people, I can get around, so
Yeah.
It's been a good place to be.
So security guard company. So was that one of your first companies?
Yeah, one of my first companies I had, man, I was working at the old bank one at a time. We had a security guard company, and we did that for a few years, and that kind of got me there. And I think, you know, this kind of transition. I think I started First Fridays, man, in my first 6 months here in town.
Okay.
I don't think I
that's
here
interesting.
What a great decision that was.
Oh, man, it's funny, right? So I'm playing basketball, man, with my frat brothers. And I said, man, I'm going to start this thing called First Fridays, because what happened is I was dating a girl in Chicago who runs the First Friday in Chicago.
Okay.
And she came here one time, and she's like, what we going to do? I took her down to the village, walked around. She said, you need to start First Fridays. You need to start something here. I'm like, I'm a banker. I ain't got time to start no First Fridays.
Right.
She said, no, I got you. I got the connects. And so I said, all right. So I go to my frat brothers, hey, man, we going to start this thing. They, man, that ain't going to work. That ain't going to work. The only person in the whole thing was Provo was the only guy on the team who wasn't a Kappa. And he's like, man, I'll do it with you. So me and Pro got together, man, and that's how we started the dynamics, man. So it's funny, it took off. Literally, I probably was here 2 or 3 months, and we thought about it. We probably started in the first 6 months. And
What was y'all's first one? First couple?
Oh man, that's funny, right? Remember, what's the Clock Pocket? What's it called down there? Clock Pocket, right there on High Street. It's the little brewery, right on High, right across from Kinko's. It's called the Clock. It's been a couple of different things right down there. The big clock out front.
It's been all kind of names.
Is that the Anthem Theater?
No,
Not that?
no, it's a small little spot, small little bar spot. They had a little brewery in the back.
Okay.
Oh man,
It's right there. You know, it's the Indian restaurant on the corner right there on
Yep.
Springer High, and then if you go going south on High Street, it's right there. It's been forever, different kind of little restaurant dynamics. But long story short, we go there, right, and we worried nobody's gonna come, right? So we charge $3. It was $3 to get in, and went in there. We called family, friends, everybody in there, and man, we had like 400 people. We couldn't even fit the place for 300. And that was our really first one. And you know, probably by the time we was into our end of our first year, man, we was doing 800-900 people. Cause it was something that he was looking for. You know, it was the vibe it was looking for, the happy hour vibe, the dynamic. It was grown and sexy, and we kept it interesting because we went from place to place to place, and it kept it interesting.
Yeah, I remember because y'all had one. I want to say that was on 4th Street. It was like the Anthem Theater or something. Because I just remember
The Athenaeum.
Yeah. So me and Dennis Hobson was sitting on his car, and we was talking pretty much almost half the night.
Right.
And I was like, man, and that was dope because it had a warehouse type feel.
Right.
And it was opened up, and I was like, man, that was dope. And then I always liked Confluence Park. So I liked when y'all did a couple there back in the day.
Yeah.
Back then it was.
River Club. That was one of our best spots, man. You know, I think one of the things that we brought to this city was to take places that normally didn't do events like us. You know, we went to the Art Museum years ago, the old Coastside on Broad Street. We were at the zoo. I mean, we went to a number of different places, the Historical Society, places that didn't have events. And it's funny, back then, none of them had catering, right? We had to bring in everything. They didn't do events. All they did was be a museum or be whatever they were.
Yeah.
So at 5 o'clock they would close. we started at 7. We would come in there, and from 5 to 7, we would bring in everything, all the liquor, all the food,
Right.
all everything in like 2-hour period. And then they saw really what we were doing, like we should do this ourselves. Now all of a sudden they started having their own in-house catering, their own
Yeah.
dynamic. Before them, none of those places had any of that. They would just,
Yeah.
I'm a museum, I close at 5, and I'll be back open tomorrow at 10.
And so they wasn't getting paid on no food, no liquor.
No,
at that time.
None of that. Right. So we come in, we would rent it out, and we bring everything in. And you know,
Man.
You know, one of the things too, man, timing is everything, because when y'all started that, we had these we had Papa Jacks, we had all these staple pieces where promoters wouldn't, like we was promoting back then, we were bringing concerts, we weren't having parties.
right.
Like
Yeah.
we'd have a birthday party somewhere and everybody would come and just, we would do that. You came along and at that time, that was like perfect timing.
Yeah.
It just flowed in that. Then we started getting into the dress, going to Taylor's because you gotta have a fresh outfit.
Right,
for
that was
every
it.
first
That was dress
Friday.
code, man. That was man Provo. He was the dress police, like he didn't care who he was.
Man, he sure did not.
I mean, one time Butch Reynolds came in, he had jeans on. Back then we couldn't even wear jeans the first Friday, right? The jeans weren't like they were now. Butch Reynolds came in, man, hey man, this is the pro. Say, man, if you got jeans on, you got to go home and change clothes. And I bet you a third of our crowd would come to the door, couldn't get in, go home, come back.
Absolutely.
Like a third of the crowd. They would not come.
Absolutely.
They would just go
Yeah,
home,
yeah,
change
yeah.
clothes, and come back. And you know,
Because you always had the miscellaneous friend in the group who
right.
he had
Well, how
somebody
do you?
else. in
Yeah,
the
but how do
band.
you deal with now? Let's just say, like your event now, they wearing suits with tennis shoes.
Right.
Is that cool
Well,
or what? What?
That's
so-
style. I mean,
Right.
You gotta change. Now you can't be so rigid in the fact that you don't change with the styles and dynamics. You know, so you went through back then. It was a suit-driven, dress-up-driven world when we first started First Fridays.
Yeah.
Then it kind of went to the 90s hip-hop dynamic where jeans came into play. And we never went deeper than that. But now you're into this thing where you got on a $1,000 suit and you got on some $200 tennis shoes, as long as they're the right look and the right feel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? As long as you ain't trying to be athletic and you're trying to be dressy.
Yeah.
'Cause it's part of the style now.
Yeah.
You know, it's part of the style. And you know, so we go with it. We flow. You always balancing that, man, because you know when you're dealing with events and people and dynamics,
Yeah.
you always balance. And we go to these kind of places where, you know, reason they deal with us is because of our reputation, not having issues, not having dynamic, and they know that these guys understand how to thread the needle and do this thing in the right kind of
Right.
way where we're good.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's important for us to keep that imagery. Like, we never chase it quick. We will not make as much money to do it right.
Gotcha.
I mean, we will never. That's why it's been
Yeah.
around. So longevity is our
Because you live
our
another
golden
day. You
rules.
got another.
Right.
You know you're gonna have more
longevity
events.
is our rule, right? Longevity is our rule, not quick. You know, there have been many times we could have did a whole lot of stuff to make it quick money, but we said no, let's just do it right, you know, and keep it moving.
So when did so now you here, you got First Friday running. When did Brownstone come into play? When did you get involved with Brownstone, and how did that mix with First Friday? Was that just more of a restaurant?
Yeah, but I think it was a natural progression of seeing what the city needs. I mean, because you know, I've always lived a dual life. You know, I'm a finance guy by trade, so I was at J.P. Morgan Chase, Nationwide. I ran a bond portfolio, so I'm traveling all over the world. I'm in, always in New York. I'm always L.A. I'm always in London, Paris, and I'm just seeing all these different dynamics happening, all these different. The flavor, the vibe is different, and so I'm thinking, okay, I need to bring something like that here. And so that's really what the genesis, because obviously we were moving people with First Friday, so we knew the people. We had a name. We're moving people. Then I'm saying, okay, we need a different flavor and dynamic of it. So that became the Brownstone dynamic, because it was a restaurant, but more, you know, 4 levels. We jazz downstairs, we this, that, we get private rooms upstairs. So it was what you had seen in New York and dynamics and other places. I mean, that's
the exact feel
that's
I had.
that's the deal. That's where it came from, and you know, it's kind of an evolution, and once again, trying to bring things to the city that the city needs. That's always kind of been our template of, okay, what's new, what's next.
So is Columbus big enough to grow like First Friday or Color of Summer? Is it big enough? Do you think Columbus is big enough for something for you to grow in a sense?
Columbus is, to me, a unique city, because other cities have been cities for 100 years. And if you kind of look at how cities are grown, cities are normally grown because they're on waterways or things like that. So even if you go to bigger cities, see how big their streets, the downtown streets are, because they've been cities a long time. Columbus was a small college town that grew up population-wise because the economy was good and it's central located for a variety of things. So Columbus grew into being a city differently than most cities now. So if you look at the biggest city in Ohio, but historically Cincinnati and Cleveland, the big cities, and other cities there. So because of that, we don't have the sports teams. We don't have some of the dynamics. So we're built differently. We got the population, but we don't have some of the trappings that other big cities have. And that's good and bad. And for us, it's actually been good. It's an event city.
Okay.
Now, you would say how many things actually are big enough that last? And when I speak of that, I'm speaking of the minority community. Because if you look at what's happening in the entire community, from the short north to Dublin to Polaris, we didn't put millions of square foot in play. But for the flavor and vibe we're talking about in the first Friday's round dynamic, that's not there, and it's tricky, you know. So I think it's big enough, but it's unique in the sense that we've been around for all the years. I think because it's an event city and we throw events, we don't have the same pressure someone has on a daily basis or weekly basis keeping lights open. When we go to a place, we are maximizing our dollar. I'm not paying for lights on Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm paying for them that Friday night until 2 o'clock where we're over, and then I ain't paying for them no more. So I think it's tricky. Now we're growing now. The question I guess I would ask or even bring up is what's the next phase of Columbus? Because it's growing as a city. Money's coming in. You've got these huge companies coming in and being a part of Columbus, and the economy is there. The question is, and you've seen how I went from a Midwest cow town on the majority side to now we got rooftops. We got 20 rooftops now probably. 5 years ago we had none. So the things you're seeing happen here, that's happening. So on the majority side, it's grown. Now the question is, will the minority side start to keep up and grow as well? And actually on the minority side, it's went the opposite way. Because like you said earlier, we had the Papa Jacks, the headliners. I mean, we had bigger places 25 years ago to go to. Now you've gotten to on the majority side for the adult environment in clubs. In clubs, probably, I don't know if clubs are dead or not. I think it's more lounges now. I think the world has changed there too. I think lounges and cigar bars and things like that are there. But even for the adult experiences, there's not places that open up now and be open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And back in the day, when you opened up a club or anything, you was guaranteed Thursday, Friday, Saturday, then you get your Sunday going, then you get your Wednesday lady night going, then you do Tuesday. You haven't seen a club in 20 years, 25 years here, open up regularly. So things are changing. I think the city is different. You just got to kind of figure out, how you fit in the city.
Got you. Yeah, we talk about it all the time. What's the city need? Well, I mean, what's the next need?
We need more minorities. See, we're only working with a small melting pot of people that are in our community. People don't really even understand, like they don't know what that number even looks like. So when you break that number down to income median, age, different variances, hobbies and likes, it's only a small fragment of a number for all of us to kind of pull from. You get the bigger pool than anybody. So you're blessed in that sense. But at the same time, I understand what you said when you alluded to earlier about how keeping the lights on all the time and going in there that one time and keep the lights on for about 6 hours. And then you don't have to worry about that. That's a major thing too that helps a lot of people continue to grow as well.
It's we as I'm speaking of the black dynamic of the city. It's always unique. We see what's happening in the short north right now, and with dynamic. And we gotta be honest, most of them are black kids doing that. So you can't act like we don't know what's really going on and really going down. And this is my personal opinion, or this is my almost opinion, but how I think things have evolved. I'm a kid of the '80s, right? I saw the Jordans, I saw the headliners, that kind of thing, where you were a part of. When you got 18, you put a suit on and tried to get a fake ID so you can go to the club. And it was one club, right? So whether you was 18 sneaking in or you was 70, you went to one club. If you remember back then, the #1 song in the country was the same song. It was Whitney Houston, Luther Vandross, everybody. I don't care if he was young or old, it was #1 song. Then the 90s came, I think, and that changed the whole way we socialized. And what happened is now, it became, and AI started, them people, he didn't start myself, but him and how rap came in and streets came in, it became now all of a sudden, they're involved in the mix. So you ain't gonna say AI can't get in your club, you know, he dressed down. Or he in because he got bored and they're gonna spend $1,000. Then it started bifurcating. Then all of a sudden you start having these different, I would call them niches and genres of different dynamics.
Yeah.
And so now all of a sudden if you run a club, where I used to be, Papa Jack said, I opened up happy hour for the older folks, late night young people. Now you got 10 different clubs because they're totally different. And I had a thing, I had my nephews helping me last summer in the yard. So one was 18, 19, his brother was 20, another one was 23. And I was like, man, who the hottest rapper out here, right? And they all had different opinions, right? So the 118, he said somebody, his brother who's 20, goes, who was that? And you ain't heard of him? Then the 123 go, man, I ain't heard neither one. And the other one said, they 4 years apart and they living in different music worlds.
Yeah.
Just right there.
Yeah.
I mean, so I was telling you how it's like this. So how do you have a big establishment to get people in the door when even the young people, 4 or 5 years apart, are different? So I think that changes how you go out and move here about keeping lights on. You can't just put it in one place and put Luther Vandross on back in the day and everybody like it. Yeah. It's changed.
Wow. Wow. And then what else you have been a part? Lounge 62.
Mm-hmm.
Then when did that come in play?
Once again, just seeing what city needs.
With the need, yeah.
Well, and you know, living in New Albany, I drove down that street every day. Like every day. That's how
I do now. Yeah, I live right there.
Yeah, I went to work, you know, downtown every day. I drove by there. And once again, trying to think about the city, like, okay, what's going on and what's happening? Did I go in there one day? And I guess I'll go in every now and then just to see what's happening. I'm like, okay, this could be something different. It's a little burbish, you know, out of the way. It ain't, you know, it ain't downtown, so you ain't fighting parking. I mean, you always think of all those things. You ain't fighting parking, it's downtown, it's a little out of the way, okay. And, you know, and I said, this could be somewhere we can do something. I don't know if you guys remember, we went there first and we was doing it monthly. And I said, now we need to do this every week because I think it can actually grab some momentum. And it did. I mean, it went a long way. But, you know, once again, though, you still had the suburban issues out there that you will have at times, too, because it was an entertainment district. Yeah. So, you know, but, yeah, so we just what the city needed. And at the time, that was a grown, sexy Saturday night, and everybody, you know, everybody enjoyed it. Yeah. Actually, I missed that one. That was a cool one for me because I live right down the street. Yeah. That was my spot right there. Yeah. That was my spot. Like, you know, when you do things like, some things you do you like more than others. Yeah. Like, that was my spot. I was like, boom, I hit that spot, I'm back home, I'm good. That was a good piece. And then they had what they have next door? Wasn't it a restaurant that we could order from? A pizza place, right? Yeah, because the same people owned both spots, right? Yeah, because we went in and bought half of the Lounge 62 from them, and then they owned the pizza place. So, you know, it was right. It was tied together. It was all tied together. Wow. Man. Yeah. And then so now we at the final one, Color of Summer. How was that created? And you know, just give us some details on that. Because that to me, the Color of Summer is like one of those. It's like it can hold its own in LA. Like it's one of those type to me. Oh, you know what I mean? And so when you talk about an event that is top notch, it gives you everything from culture to fashion to live music to spoken word. Everything is there. And so when you talk about, you know, let's just say we put that in New York. It'd probably be one of the top events in New York. You know, we got people like, you know, my guys, they always come in from Atlanta. And they say, man, this is this next level, you know, and you know what, Atlanta can throw some events. So tell us about how that was, you know, put together and what where you see that going. Well, thank you for your comments on it, first of all. You know, we put a lot of work into it. But I think, once again, it goes back to that same formula of what the city needs and what it's looking for and trying to evolve at the same time. You know, I probably went to the museum for the first time 20 years ago, in the 90s. So it wasn't that venue was something we had never gone to and did. It became thinking about how to be more sophisticated in what you do and how you do it. And we put a lot of thought in this and kind of saying, I mean, what do people really want? And you got to really, wow, are we in this new Instagram, you know, social media age where people see a lot of stuff? So even though they ain't experienced a lot of stuff, they seeing way more than before. And you got to kind of go with the times in the sense that to be wild now is a lot for people who want to spend their money and be wild. So they ask for a whole lot more, right? So you say, well, how can I do that economically? Because what I think our greatest gift is, we take an experience and we take a population and we give them an experience for less than it should cost. Like, you know what I'm saying? Our cost and what we do, that ain't what it costs to go to the, people understand what it costs to go to the museum and to have the layers we have there. So my job is, how do I fill the gap so that the people will come and pay that number and I still satisfy everything I satisfy and make money, because I'm not a charity, and make money to be able to do it. So if you look at our events, you gotta see, they're layered. I mean, like you said, Color Summer, for those who haven't been there or heard about it, I mean, it's just like an extravaganza of creatives and art. We have an art show. We have, over 50 to 60 black artists that come in and display their works throughout and do live auctions. Each year they sell between $10,000 and $20,000 worth of their art gets sold in that environment that day. We have a whole room for spoken word and poetry and comedy. And that always pops. And we take the whole museum over. We got probably the biggest fashion show in the state, with our fashion show piece. I mean, this year I think we'll have 50 models, 12 designers. I mean, any one of those things alone would be big in itself.
Right.
And, then we take that with our entertainment there. We'll have 5 bands there, 3 DJs there. So we take it all place. So we try to layer it in a way, in such a way that it's a seamless experience. We're indoors, we're outdoors, we're doing all those different things there. But I think what we try to do is, how do we bring something, like you alluded to earlier, that matches up anywhere, and that's the case. I mean, like, my sister and family from Dallas, they come in every year. People come from, my brother from Atlanta coming, brother from LA coming. Everybody comes because it's something different. It's something different in this complex. There are bigger events. There are events that have more people,
right?
But there aren't many big events that are that complex.
Yeah.
There are a lot of folks in a big room somewhere in a big thing, and they got one DJ way up here, and you can't hardly see him.
Yeah.
But it's the complexity of it, and what I really like about it is the diversity of the people in a sense of age and who they are in the community. I mean, you'll have a Joyce Beatty and Mike Coleman there. You have a couple of young people, 21 there. It's a wide range of people who seamlessly have a great time, and it goes back to what I was saying earlier, where everybody in one spot, and they kind of in one spot. Where normally, if people pick their spots, I don't go deal with them. I go deal over here. Everybody got their own spots. And this one, they all come together and say, no, we all good. We all good in one spot. And that's what I love about it, the diversity of the people that come in there from an age and dynamic perspective, and they all enjoy the same thing. So
how can people get tickets for that? Where do they go?
Yeah, everything's online, and Eventbrite is ffcos2023.eventbrite.com. But if you just go on Eventbrite and type in Color of Summer, it'll pop up and you'll see it, and it's there.
We'll add that link to the show as well.
Yeah, no, that's good. We ain't sold out yet, but we're probably 3/4 way being sold out already. So,
sure.
and we sold it out. We sold it out the last 3 years. I mean, people, it won't be, it won't be anything there last week at the event.
What time does that event start?
Yeah, it's 7 to 12, and just to kind of give you the layout of the day, 7 to 12 at the Art Museum. And just another thing we do there too, I think I didn't mention, is we have some of the best and most creative culinary professionals there as well. So your ticket price, when you come in for the Color of Summer, all the food, everything's included. And literally we'll have 20 different food vendors there. And I'm not just saying we don't do meatballs and wings. This is like lamb chops, and they're bringing the best. This is a smorgasbord of high quality dynamics.
Because again, it's a platform for them as well.
Exactly, and that's what we do, right? We give them opportunity to show what they can do,
right? And
they show themselves, and then they've gotten tremendous business from that.
Yeah.
That's part of what we do too. I guess I alluded to that. All the artists, we give them a platform. We give the fashion designers a platform. We give all the entertainers a platform, and the culinary people. And most of them can't get that kind of audience. They don't get to be in front of 3,000 people.
Yeah.
They don't get to see that dynamic. And I think that's they value the most. Hey, I get to show what I do. Because if you're in business, what I want you to do is know I'm here. know where I'm at, and then see what I do. Now you get to taste that and do this in front of here and see it, and that's where we get a lot of joy out of it too, because I think we've been able to bring together that in a way that everyone benefits.
Yeah.
Our platform is something that we're using for overall good, while at the same time still not off mission for ourselves. We still
Right.
on mission.
Okay.
So like I said, we do that. I didn't mention there's this year, like always, an after party, which is a whole nother level. It'll be at the Bluestone right across the street.
Never made the after party.
Oh,
I know, but I know. Most of the people. So we usually have people out of town, and they be
Yeah.
like, "Hey, let's just go grab something to eat." So
Yeah.
by the time we go eat, we don't even get back to the after party.
oh,
So
man.
yeah.
And especially because it's right across the street from the museum. I mean,
Yeah.
it'll be epic. I mean, it'll be one of the kinds where the owner come to me about 3:30 in the morning, going, "Jeff, can we cut the music off now?" And a person left.
Right.
But not one person has left in
Yeah.
that time frame. So no, I mean, I think the whole dynamic, and we'll do a pre-event.
So would that ticket price get you into that as well?
Well, the two ticket prices online.
Okay.
The ticket
Okay.
price for museum only, for those who
Okay.
want to go to museum only, and it's ticket price as well for those who want to do a combo ticket for both.
Okay.
And then we'll normally do, which we have not scheduled yet, but will be a pre-event that Friday that no matter what ticket you bought, you'll be able to get into that pre-event with that ticket.
Got you.
So
Okay.
trying to make it a weekend dynamic there, but with the centerpiece being the color of summer
Yeah.
piece, which I think like I said, this is our 5th year. It will be our 5th year. COVID, we didn't do it that year. We started in 19, and I think we're definitely the biggest event that happens in the museum all year long by a mile. Even their
Okay.
big events, and it's one of the biggest events of its type in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I think that.
Yeah, I wore something last year from one of your vendors, Persona, my boy Zuri.
Yeah, yeah.
So I almost didn't get in because Rob was like, "Bruh," he told me the night before, "Bruh, you can't wear that." I said, "Dude, it's one of y'all's."
Yeah.
He was like, "Bruh." So I got there. Dude was like, so Rob was standing right there. I was like, "Rob," he like, "Man, didn't I?" He said, "Let him in." He was mad at me. I was cracking up.
I forgot what you had on.
I had on one of the scuba suits. It was like a sweatsuit, but it's kind of like a custom made. And then I had on a custom made brim from one of my guys out of Houston.
So you was custom, huh?
Yeah, but that's what I was trying to tell. I said, bro, everything I got is custom. And really what I had on was Zuri. Zuri, I got it from Zuri.
George doing me this year.
Okay.
And that's the thing too. The designers, man, they got more folks buying more designer clothes than they ever had. I mean, we got more. We started something in that community, and once again, our dollars moving among ourselves.
Among ourselves.
Our dollars
That's
among
our
ourselves.
whole. That's one of our goals for this.
Right. So a designer, people buy more designer stuff now than they didn't even thought about.
Right.
And that's what we wanted to do. We wanted let's up the game up. Let's get people involved.
Yeah.
Let's up the game and let's do that. And I love that. I love the fact that the designers win. I'm going to people's houses where I see the art they done bought from the show in their houses.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing them hire out our culinary professionals.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing all that is a benefit in a way to turn that dollar and get in our community more and more. And I think that you have to do that. We got to get creative. We got to be aggressive. We've got to understand how to make an economy within an economy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this goes a long way in that sense. And we love it for that sense. And at the same time, you still are enjoying yourselves and you're still having a good time, because we don't see this as a party. We see this as a social, cultural experience.
Yeah.
We don't,
And we get to keep that dollar in the community a couple more hours or a day or two.
No, that helps. That one turn.
Every little thing helps.
That one turn, and I won't put the math behind it, but one turn is exponentially beneficial to your community.
Yeah.
Just one turn. Just an extra turn in your community is a whole lot. And hopefully that turns again. You get to that, but you got to start different places in different ways, and we just have to figure out how we can do positive things. And one thing I will say before we wrap up, how we are, is that I think in these times we need positive imagery of us as black people. Mm-hmm. We need to be seen in a positive light, not always in the most negative lights that the news portrays, that you always see. I mean, anytime you really hear anything about, see anything about us, that's why I love the fact you guys invited me for the podcast. For me to put some talk about this, let us show us in a positive. Let us show us what we can do, our potential, and the best of what we can be. Because we got a lot of it, but you never see it.
Yeah.
You never really get to see what we do. It's always in a general perspective. something that's not possible.
So that brings me to my question, or do you guys have media coverage for Color of Summer? Will media come out, maybe cover that and understand, because everything you talked about, from the art, the fashion, the culture, the food, everything is right there under one roof where they can capture so much content. Do you think that they will cover that or at some point? And if they don't, why?
Let me unpack the question. Not unpack it, I know what you said. They have slightly, or they have with not a lot of real intent.
Okay.
Like example, so I think we had one of the maybe last year event. Oh, Jeff, Channel 4. I said, oh, I'm making some change. Channel 4, what channel it was. I went to interview this and that. Now, some think it's going to be a student interview and stuff. They do some kind of Zoom interview and some kind of, I don't know if they ever show it anywhere. I don't even know anything about it. So it's not really intentional. And I think we're trying to strive to push those buttons because sometimes we get so busy with the production of the event and the marketing of the event, and we'll get there, push those buttons so people can see exactly what we're doing there. So this year will be another opportunity to do that.
See, because to me, that's something that, just me thinking on the spot out loud, it could be a channel, like a Sharon Gordon's channel, where somebody's walking around interviewing people, showing, hey, this is the culinary, this is the restaurant that such and such, and showing the food, then go and cover the fashion show, then go and cover, maybe it's so much to be able to gain there. And again, it's just not for social media. This is bigger than social media. To me, that event, you gotta have that go past social media, and people need to experience that. And so I think that would be the next play. And I don't know how you get to that level, but or who will cover it, but somebody like Sharon, who does have some channels and maybe some dead air time where she can get get that done.
And that's definitely additional evolution. I think last year they did some film work for Tourism Ohio. Did some film work, but that's not news. I mean, like what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But there's different.
It's a start.
There's just definitely opportunity to grow because the platform is there. It's almost like we've done the hard work, getting that many people and doing that thing. That's the hard work. Now we got to fill out the ancillary things to get full benefit out of what we do.
Okay.
We've we got the situation.
Yeah.
Now let's go and let people know about it.
Okay.
They'll know what we have going on and do it. So so that's something we work on too, and try to keep moving. And like there's so many moving parts in doing these events that you just try to keep the main things happening, and hopefully something falls in the right way with right connections. It's about connections. It's about people saying, hey, you know what, we'll do that, and we'll do it right. We got you. Because what we don't want to do, which we don't shy from, but you don't want everything you do to have to chase somebody down and beat down every door. You want some doors to be cracked. It's a hard way to get through something if you got to fight every step of the way. Sometimes you want to do enough where someone comes to you and says, hey, that's good work you're doing. Hey,
right.
So hopefully we're getting the word out enough that people can kind of see that, and we'll, with this thing here, it'll put it out there. Someone else, you know what? I know somebody right now. We need that content, or we need that situation.
Yeah.
And so that's so hopefully keep getting better, brother.
Man, good stuff, man. What you think, Pace?
I just want to tell you while we have you here. So we were just talking about the other day that Color of Summer is culturally so huge. Because it just gives people inspiration. There are people out here right now that are going through what they're going through, but to see people that look like them doing something positive like that is amazing. And then when you talked about the age differences, variances, 21-year-olds there, my uncle's cousin, my mom, 60s, 70s. So it's so diverse, and they need to see that imagery too, because if you're young, you want to get that's grandma, but you want to get to be grandma too, or grandpa. Life is precious.
Yeah,
that's the plan.
So thank you so much for doing that, man. And we support you 100%.
I always have. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of folks to to come our way, man. That's one thing. You don't do this by yourself.
No.
All this got to be a lot of people doing a lot of things, supporting you in a lot of ways, man. That's just common sense. You don't get there by yourself. You get there with people believing in you, trusting you. And not only trusting you enough to come themselves, but to tell their people, hey, trust us. It's worth coming from Atlanta. It's worth doing this. You need that. Cause I can't tell them that because I got self-interest. you could tell them that. So I'm
Yeah.
telling you, it's worth coming up. Is this and that? Or when people buy VIPs in 2 months in advance and give me their money, like this event gonna happen. Now they trust us. This gonna happen.
Yeah.
We understand that. We take care, and we also understand to respect the fact that people trust us, and we don't want to take their trust and ever do something different, but give them the best.
Gotcha.
I mean, that's what we go for. That's where we at, and we've been working it, and we're gonna keep on working it.
No doubt. We're gonna wrap up with that, and we're gonna call it the day. Appreciate it.
All right, man. All right, fellas.
Man, appreciate you
All right.
dropping in, man. Spending
right.
an hour with us.
Appreciate
All
you,
right,
bro.
man.
You know?
Hey.
Welcome to Color of Summer 2022. What's up, Columbus, Ohio? So we have Miss Joyce Beatty here celebrating the colors of summer with us tonight.
Thought tonight it would be cool, and I want it to be cool and radiant.
That's the look tonight. I love it.
Amazing culinary artists here. We have a great fashion show. We got spoken word back here. We got live DJs, live bands. You're gonna have a good time.
I am excited. I am on the red carpet. I have our former mayor of Columbus, Ohio, the Michael B. Coleman here for the Colors of Summer 2022. We're so happy to have you tonight. Tell us your inspiration. I know it was colors.
Blazer and all kind of colors here. Of course, I got my purple right here. You know what I mean?
No, listen, fashion is fashion, and you know what I'm saying? You explore, make it what it is. You know what I'm saying? And you got to be on the cutting edge.